Hello, my name is Jennifer. I am the Tricky gardener, and I created this page this winter when I was struggling with my mental health a bit and wanted a creative outlet. I wanted somewhere that I could begin talking a little more openly about the struggles that I have on a daily basis and to remind myself that in spite of having these struggles, that I really am thriving and have built a big, beautiful, amazing life. So that was the intent of creating the page. And then as I got started and some of you started joining me, and I began following your stories, I realized that this is an amazing opportunity for me to do my part to connect with the community and to lift up our voices. So with that said, I thought it might be a good start for me to just introduce myself. So I live in Indiana, just north of Indianapolis. I am a mom to two teenagers. I'm happily married to my husband of 19 years. And I garden in almost all of my free time and gives me a lot of joy and satisfaction. On top of all of that, I manage a body-focused repetitive behavior called trichotillomania. I was 13 years old when I began pulling from the top of my head, and at first it felt like an interesting new hobby. I honestly didn't realize it was a problem until I observed others' reactions to it. It was at that point that the shame set in and I began trying to hide and control both the behavior and the resulting hair loss. I also began trying to control the behavior for the first time. It turned out I couldn't control it. I also couldn't answer my mom's well-intentioned questions about what must be bothering me in my life that was so bad that I was doing this to myself. I was always a little on the high-strung side. My personality was always a little tightly wound. And honestly, the pulling began to feel a little like self-soothing. But still, it was so strange to me. Why was I doing this and why couldn't I stop? In high school, I cultivated the art of keeping people at arm's length. I hid hair loss behind hairstyles and hats. I spent a lot of time feeling shamed and weird and othered. In college, it became so distressing living with others in close quarters that my mental health really began to struggle. And it was at that time that I discovered the Trichotillomania Learning Center Foundation. And I clung onto that word like a life raft. This behavior had a name, and there were others like me who struggled with the same behavior. Armed with this self-diagnosis, I honestly thought that that had been the biggest challenge, figuring out what this was. It turned out it was just the beginning. There was no cure, no real treatment even. In fact, I spent most of my time in the early years in therapist offices, educating them often on what trichotillomania is and kind of trying to work as a partner in what should we be doing about this. But still, I wasn't alone, and that was huge. I went through intermittent periods of trying to quit and then not trying at all just to avoid the disappointment. I saw therapists, I bought scarves and fidget toys, I identified locations and triggers and worked to avoid them, but still I pulled my hair out by the root to the point of bald patches. It was at that point that I kind of quit the quitting effort and found myself some great hair solutions. I found a wig maker and began having custom pieces made for me. I still tended to avoid vacations that centered around pool and ocean time. I still tensed up a little bit when people gave me hugs or when they got too rowdy around me. But I found a way to coexist with my BFRB and really practiced a lot of self-acceptance during that time. And then I got angry. Is this all there is? Is this the best we can do? I love that we're coming so far with the acceptance and ending the stigma and speaking up about this. But there are so many little girls and young women and young people coming up after me that I don't know that I'm willing to just sit and not continue the conversation about how we move the needle on this condition. I'm interested in connecting with this community and lifting our voices up. I worked for 15 years as a professional patient advocate in the biotech industry. I sat with individuals and families who were struggling with autoimmune disorders, viral infections, rare cancers, neurodegenerative diseases, all to listen to their stories, to better understand their journey, and to make sure that their and advocates' voices were at the table where treatment discussions were being made. And yet I wasn't doing this for the condition that I and my family have struggled with for decades. And so I'm back in the fight, and I want to use that word carefully, fight. I don't want this to be an activity filled with tension. I simply want to understand, is this as far as we can come? Can we continue to add to the body of research with case studies? Can we talk about things like lifestyle and nutrition and movement, functional medicine approaches? And can we still be engaged in the biotech and pharmaceutical space to see if we've done all we can do in identifying the medications that may help manage this behavior? So I'm back. I hope that you'll join me in this discussion. I hope you'll let me know how you're feeling and how you're managing. And I will do my best to put out content to show that while this is a frustrating condition, that many of us are building big, beautiful lives that we're so proud of. And let's do it together. Let's go.